Welcome back to the Marching to Madness College Basketball Podcast, where today we have Coach Mike Jones, the Associate Head Coach at Virginia Tech. Beside of Coach Mike Young, Coach Jones coached 18 years at legendary DeMatha High School, where he won 81.1% of his games. He's also a USA basketball coach. Coach, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Ken. I appreciate it.
Sure. Now, hey, let's talk about DeMatha first. I mean, I grew up knowing about DeMatha because I'm a basketball aficionado, or that's what I call it. You had 18 years there and you won 511 games. Talk about the correlation of wins versus years.
I just think, I came in, I was the coach that was privileged with the task of following behind Coach Morgan Wooten, one, but then also what comes along with following a legend who, a lot of people consider one of the best basketball coaches, if not the best basketball coach ever. But I was a DeMatha graduate, and I think the fact that I grew up with that culture being built within me, I never thought I'd leave DeMatha. I thought I'd be there kind of like Coach Wooten, and that would be my career. And I was looking forward to doing that and, blessed with a lot of players that were really good, a lot of teams that were really good. And, I never thought I'd leave until this opportunity came about. So.
Yeah. Now you talk a little bit about your USA basketball experience. That's interesting to me.
Yeah. So I became the coach at DeMatha in 2002. In the summer of 2004, I got my first opportunity to work with USA Basketball at the Youth Development Festival.
Sure.
And then that kind of went away, and FIBA, the governing body for basketball in the world, created world championships for younger ages, not just like the Olympic level teams, back in 2009. And when they created that, USA Basketball started a program. And the first year of the program, one of my players was on that team. And then the second cycle, so it goes in 2-year cycles. So 2009, 2010, there was a team. Quinn Cook played for me at DeMatha, went on to Duke, went on to win, at this point, 2 world championships, one with Golden State, one with the Lakers. He was a starting point guard on both of those teams. And then after his cycle through, they were looking for 2 more coaches to join the program, and I was one of the 2 that was selected. And literally once I did that, starting in the fall of 2010, I've done something with USA Basketball every year since then, and hope to continue to do that going in the future. It is an amazing organization. It is a great resource. You're around such great athletes first and foremost, but as a coach, getting to learn from so many other great coaches is something that I will never take for granted.
That's a very cool story. So congratulations up front.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, I'll also congratulate you on the Hokies winning the ACC Tournament last March, which was the first tournament they'd won since they won the Metro Conference back in 1979. I was in the 8th grade. I remember Les Hansen played on that team. Your thoughts and your look back on a quality endeavor. I know you guys were, you were on, I guess, in the lower part of the standings, but you started moving up there, and you beat the 1, the 2, and the 3 seeds.
Yep. So at one point in time, we were 0-4 in the league. We were 2-7 in the league, and I mean, we were, scraping and fighting and clawing. And I think the one thing that I think anyone would take away from it, but definitely something that we took away from what we went through last year, was no matter what was going on with us in terms of wins and losses, we never lost our faith in we're doing things the right way. We just need to get over the hump. We're doing things the right way. We just need to play better. It wasn't a strategic thing. It wasn't maybe we should be doing this instead of that. It was just we needed to finish games. We needed to lock in. We needed to pay attention to the details. You know, you can point at so many different things. And I attribute us being able to turn it around to Coach Mike Young. I mean, he truly would not allow us to question what we were doing. I mean, he literally would walk into the locker room and kept doing like this. He kept saying, guys, we're this close, we're this close, we're this close. And not one person in that locker room, wavered from believing that. And it took one game at Florida State to get us off the schneid a little bit, and it ballooned into 2 games, then 3 games, and then we won 6 in a row. And then, we had a hiccup, and then we won a few more in a row, and we had ultimate confidence going into the conference tournament. And that's what got us over the hump. So it was fun. Not bragging, but I was used to winning. So I expected to win, foolishly or not. I expected to win, and that's exactly what happened. But again, I give all the credit to Coach Young and his leadership.
It's a really good story. Now you return Hunter Couture, who he shot 42% from 3 last year. What are other responsibilities he's going to have, or maybe he's going to pick up as well as making that 3 ball?
He's our leader.
Yeah,
he and Justin Mutz are 2 of the finest young men I've ever been around. But Hunter is someone who's level-headed. He's done it. He's done it the right way. He's had to work. Like he doesn't walk in the door more talented than anyone else. He works for everything he gets. He is a tremendous example to anyone that comes in our program. And then coming off of what he was able to do last year, especially in the ACC championship game, who's not going to listen to him? He's a fan favorite. Everybody loves playing with him. I've been very adamant about stating, like, he is the smartest basketball player I've ever been around. Like,
sure.
and like it's unbelievable. He can remember every play from every spot on the floor. He is a true quarterback, even though he's not always the point guard. Like, he knows everything defensively, offensively. He is truly the epitome of being a coach on the floor. And, he just makes things easier for us.
Sure. Now you mentioned Justin Mutz, and he's got his finger in all the pies on a basketball court, so to speak. He averaged 10.1 points a game, 7.4 rebounds, 3.4 assists. Talk about how he creates, what we're talking about, just a well-rounded starting 5, so to speak, because he gets everybody involved.
If Justin wants to be a professional basketball player, he will be for as long as he wants to be.
Good.
He has the skill set of, he can do everything. I mean, he literally can do everything on the court, and that's what basketball is today. Does Justin have a position? Like, not really. Like, he'll play what you tell him to play, but the fact is he can play everything. Like, you'll see this year, he'll sometimes initiate our offense as the point guard. And then he'll go down and post up as, like, our quote-unquote center. He can guard every position on the floor. Again, another guy that, because he's been through it so much, he can see what the other team's trying to do as soon as they start their offense. Like, he's that smart. And again, like, he makes everything so much easier. He talks. He brings such a great energy to our team. And then I think the part that just should be celebrated more is who he is off the court. I mean, this young man has 2 master's degrees already.
Wow.
Like, not he's in his 2nd master's right now. Like, he already has that degree, and now he's, like, on his way to, getting something else. Like, it's truly amazing what he represents in terms of being a student athlete. And you talk about who guys should look up to and things like that. Like, if I'm a young kid, like, if I'm a parent, I want my kid to be like Justin Mutz. I mean, he is literally just a great young man.
Sure. And now you've got a couple of guys here who are going to likely, I guess, start beside Hunter Couture in Sean Padula and Darius Maddox. Both of them played in all 36 games a year ago. So what's that going to mean for the backcourt? I mean, there's experience there, and you can't ignore experience. I don't
Right.
think in any sport.
Well, I think the biggest thing with both of them, Sean and Darius both, if you look at the first half of last season, like they got their feet wet a little bit. In the first few games when, we were able to win relatively easily, they played a little bit more. But as we got into the thick of things, their minutes went down a little bit because they were still learning. Like, people forget Darius, even though he was a sophomore last year, a lot of his freshman year, he was either hurt or had COVID. So he did not get an opportunity to have a real freshman season. So a lot of what he went through in the first part of last year was almost like he was still a freshman. But once he hit that peak, like he took off. And the second half of last season, if you watch Sean and Darius both played a lot more important minutes for us, not just more minutes, but like the minutes that counted in a game. And we're very, very, very comfortable going into this season with those two guys really taking on a much bigger bite of the apple, so to speak.
Yeah, Darius, he's probably gotten famous in the Blacksburg basketball culture because he had
Yes,
that
sir.
game winner against the Tigers, the Clemson Tigers.
Yes, sir. I think one of the biggest things about Darius, and people may not notice, like he is so even keeled. Like, he hits that shot and he literally lands and he doesn't scream. He doesn't raise his arms or anything. He just kind of turns around and lets his teammates mob him. But he is someone who you'd want the ball in his hands in that situation because it's almost like he doesn't feel any pressure. Like he's just who he is. Like, I'm going to take this shot. Like if it goes in, we win. If it doesn't go in, we lost, man. But it's not like he puts any added pressure on himself because of what the situation is. And again, that's a rarity in basketball, but that's also a quality that, again, not many people truly understand. That's unique, and it helps someone perform in that situation, in those high intense and pressure packed circumstances. Because I'm not going to say I'm not saying he doesn't care, but it's not going to bother him because he knows he's trying. And for him, he's put the work in, so he deserves to take that shot. And because he's put the work in, I'm putting my money on him making that shot.
Yeah. Hey, thinking about this team in general, how can this group become even better defensively?
Well, first part of last year, we weren't great. We got better as the year went along. I think this year, because of the adjustments we had to make throughout the year defensively, it puts us in a better place to know where we need to start. The other factor to that is we're deeper this year. We have more bodies. And because we have more bodies, that means that a guy like Justin Mutz gets a little bit more of a break. A guy like Hunter Couture gets a little bit more of a break. So they're going to be fresher, not just in games, but as the season goes along, they'll be fresher later in the season. So we'll be better in a lot of areas. Defensively will be one. And the reason is because we're just a deeper team.
Yeah. Now, talk about acquiring that depth. Who might be in the mix here early?
Well, we returned Lynn Kidd, who was on our squad last year and learned a lot from Keve Aluma and being with Justin. And you talk about just a young man putting in a lot of work in the offseason. Like he's primed and ready to have a much bigger impact on our team. And then we also brought in a couple of guys out of the transfer portal. Grant Basili and Elijah Poteet are also forwards and bigger guys that, again, we did not have depth in those areas last year, but they provide a lot. Grant Basili, a tremendous offensive talent from Wright State, played an ACC tournament last year. It's funny, we were actually scouting, preparing for NC State last season, and they had just played Wright State. And I remember watching Grant, not knowing that we'd have any chance to have him in a Hokie uniform, but I mean, he was very impressive then. So very happy to have him on our side. And then Elijah Poteet is from Rice. He comes in and he averaged 7.7 points last year, I think, but he only played like 12 or 13 minutes a game.
Mm.
which again, you look at the numbers and it's like that doesn't wow you. But then you realize like, well, if you make that 20 minutes a game, then that's double figure points. And like, I mean, he's a young man who, again, he's gotten in really, really good shape here. He's going to have a huge impact. And that's just the big guys. And then you got John Camden on the wing, and you have Big Pat Wessler is also another postman, and you have Rodney Rice and MJ Collins that are guards that are coming in. Like we're a much, much deeper team than we were a year ago. And Coach Young is like he's got more toys to play with, so to speak.
That's good. That's good. Now, I wanted to ask you, the rumors out that the NCAA tournament's going to be expanding. What are your thoughts on that as a coach?
I know it's been, in the works, like, or at least in the discussions for a while. If it expands, like it's the best athletic contest.
Oh yeah.
Ever. Like it's the Super Bowl is one game. The NBA Finals are 7 games. Like the NCAA tournament is the single most just exciting and dramatic event that there is in sports. And
period. Yeah, I agree.
If you throw more opportunities for more of that, like how can that be a bad thing? How can that be a bad thing? Now, I would hope that we would never get to a point where the regular season doesn't mean anything. But like I don't think that it can be a bad thing. Strategically increasing it to a number that doesn't compromise the intensity that comes with March, but then also, again, just gives the fans more rooting interest. And another week of college basketball, whatever you want to call it, I don't think that can be a bad thing, especially if the thought is put into it to do it the right way.
Yep. Last thing, Coach, we're in such an analytic era in sports. Which analytics do you guys as coaches use the most, because there's so many out there? And then how do they help you?
So I think that's going to be something that goes team to team. I know that one thing that we look at our turnover percentage. Like in order to win in college basketball, you cannot turn the ball over. And again, that falls on everybody, but that usually comes down to your guard play. So that's something we look at. So we look at our turnover percentage. We look at a rebounding because that deals with toughness. And again, you're not going to be a very good college basketball team if your team is not the tougher team night in and night out. And, so you've got to play with an intensity and a toughness that helps you rebound the basketball and prevents your opponent from rebounding the basketball. And then, I mean, you can get into how many times do you get to the free throw line? What is the percentage of shots you're taking that are threes versus twos? Like, how many times are your 3-point shots taken after the ball has touched the paint? How many side possessions do you have? Like, is your offense just come down and take the first shot, or do you reverse the ball? Like, there's so many things, but I think that also depends upon who you are. Like, if you're a fast break team, you're going to have way more or way less multi-side possessions in a game because you're trying to score in transition as much as you possibly can. If you're a team that doesn't have shooters, then maybe you're not shooting as many 3-point shots or maybe the other team is forcing you to shoot threes because you can't shoot. Like, there's so many things in that, and it goes from team to team. And I believe the most successful coaches are the ones that can adjust to the personnel they have, or if you can't do that, to recruit to the way you want to play. And they both go hand in hand. And the guys that can do both, that's why they're some of the best coaches out there.
Sure. Coach Mike Jones, Virginia Tech associate head coach to Mike Young. Coach, I hope we can do this again at some point. I really enjoyed talking to you and learning about you as a coach and about the Hokies.
Well, this was fun. So anytime, just let me know.
Sure. Thanks a lot, and good luck to you this year. I'll see you guys somewhere, I'm sure.
You got it. See you soon.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.